I'm joined by Huw Roberts, Head of Sales at BBD Boom, and we're going to talk about HubSpot's new pricing model that's gone live. So we have now got core seats. These are for people to have edit access to the hubs that you own, typically for CRM administrators, marketing managers, marketing specialists, software developers. We then have the sales and service seats, and those are for sales professionals, sales pro, marketing pro, and service. And then we have free users, but the free users can't edit anything. So, Huw, from your point of view, let's start with kind of unpacking this a bit. So, how do you see accessibility to some of those top tier enterprise features, for example, changing for small or lean teams?
Yeah, there's a few ways to look at it, really, in my opinion. I think the first thing from a positive standpoint is, especially for smaller businesses who potentially will only have a sales team of 3 or 4 individuals, it's a much easier access to that platform now. So for anybody that doesn't understand, before the 5th of March, whenever you took out sales professional license, it would come automatically with 5 users. That cost per month was around the region of £350 per month. Now, the way that HubSpot are now moving into this new seat-by-seat access is, if you only have a team of 2 from a sales or a service perspective, you can basically procure HubSpot Professional tier for sales or service and only have to pay for those 2. So I see it as a really positive aspect for the SMB market. But just to flip that as well is, we obviously speak with businesses very regularly who might be slightly nervous if they've got 30 or 40 sales individuals or even larger teams than that. And obviously procuring HubSpot is quite an expense when you get to those sort of ranges. It gives them an opportunity to pilot the sales software by obviously adding in smaller amount of the team users, getting that implemented, and then rolling it out to the wider business in a future state. So there's a couple of different ways that I would potentially be looking at it. But I think realistically, it's the pricing model has changed ever so slightly, and I think it's to make people scale more effectively and more efficiently, and create a sort of sense of innovation between businesses as well. I suppose if we were to talk about that innovation side of things, Adam, how do you think the sort of pricing model would encourage the use of like MVP strategies? Because I know that's a big part of what we do as a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think MVP, basically the idea that you're going to start small, get something working, learn from it, and then start scaling it and rolling it out to more people. That's becoming more and more important to our customers, because as we're going up market, we're having people moving off other systems, and maybe there's a lot of complexity and they're not ready to do it in a wanna, as we used to say. And we want to do it in stages. So now we can say, right, do you know what we're going to do? We are going to take sales enterprise, but we're going to actually just pilot this program now, pilot using HubSpot prospecting, let's say, or certain part of our sales process, certain pipeline, with 2 or 3 sales reps. And let's really get that up and running, get them using it, get them adopting, and then use that as a platform to get the rest of the business excited and on board with HubSpot. And I'm really excited. I think that's going to help people on that journey to wider adoption. But actually, Huw, I'm thinking about another use case as well, where we're dealing with migrations and people, let's say somebody's coming off Salesforce onto HubSpot. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing to think about. Obviously, the new pricing structure, it probably facilitates a smoother migration pathway for businesses that are using other CRMs. And the reason why we say that is enabling companies to run HubSpot in parallel with a smaller number of users. It offers practical, low-risk way to compare and assess functionalities in between the 2 systems. So it means businesses can make a bit more of an informed decision before fully transitioning into these different systems and different platforms. So they're choosing the best fit for their needs. And I think from my experience and being through this, sometimes businesses do feel rushed as they're going on this sort of journey because of either expiry dates of licenses, or software companies, they can be quite pushy as well from a sales perspective. So I think this really supports sort of easing that transition and minimizing the risk for that company as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're really unpacking this as we go along here, aren't we? So we are finding little quirks. So one of them I found today was that, you can't really combine things like Sales Starter with Marketing Pro, because as you start to add in core seats, the core seats default at the higher level. So if you've got any Pro license or Enterprise license, all the core seats are then priced at that level. So there's a few things that we're going to have to get used to. But actually, something you said, Huw, which I thought was very interesting, was because the core seats, they're going to go to roles that people require who are administrators, so CRM administrators, HubSpot administrators, and they weren't really kind of thought of before. So now you're going to have to pay for that seat. And how do you think that is going to impact the perceived value of people in that position?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the biggest challenge from a HubSpot pricing perspective. I think one of the core things that a lot of businesses liked was that you could have as many free users in there that could edit and change things around. However, I would have been firmly in that camp a couple of weeks ago, but the more and more I think about it and digest it and speak to customers of ourselves and speaking through prospects, what it's starting to do is get businesses into that mindset of thinking, who needs access to this platform? Rather than allowing everybody to have access and different permission sets, etc. It starts to get the business to think, okay, this is now a paid for service for a seat. Therefore, what is the value of that individual being in that platform? Because from my experience, especially with working with a lot of marketing teams, is that there are certain marketing executives that potentially don't really require a seat, that their role sits outside of the HubSpot platform. So that actually could mean a cost saving overall in terms of from the license value that you're having. And I think it starts to really push that sort of feature of who needs access versus who doesn't require access. So then you are really being hyper focused on who lives and breathes inside of that platform.
Yeah, spot on. Brilliant. Thanks, Huw. Look, we've had a bit of a chat there. I'm sure there's going to be more things that we uncover as we go along. So perhaps we'll do another video. But obviously, if anybody's got any questions about how this might affect them, and I should say as well that existing customers are being managed separately to this. So you won't be impacted by any of this until you're up for renewal anyway. And then even then, there's lots of mitigations to make sure there's no kind of sudden price change. But anyhow, if anybody wants to know more, please get in contact with us and we'd be happy to chat through how it might impact your business. So thanks, Huw.
Cheers, guys. Speak soon. Bye.